Look, I've analyzed the morning crime scene of dozens of high achievers. And you know what? The reason you're crashing by 10 a.m. has nothing to do with your coffee and everything to do with your closet. I'm going to walk you through exactly why your brain feels like a browser with 50 tabs open before you even sit at your desk, right? We're looking for the silent killer of your focus. And I promise you, the evidence is hidden in the tiny choices you don't even realize you're making. Stay with me, because by the end of this investigation, you'll have the exact blueprint to reclaim your mental energy. Think about your morning as a series of forensic clues. Firmly, from the second your alarm rings, you aren't just starting your day. You're depleting a finite resource. In the world of high-performance psychology, we call this decision fatigue. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for logical thinking and impulse control, it works exactly like a smartphone battery. But here's the catch. It doesn't distinguish between the big decisions and the tiny ones. Your brain treats deciding on $1 million contract and deciding which pair of earrings to wear with the same level of biological urgency. When I look at the habits of successful women who still feel like they're drowning by noon, I see the same pattern every single time. You wake up and immediately enter a high-stakes negotiation with yourself. Should I hit snooze for 10 minutes? Should I check my Slack notifications while I'm still in bed? Should I wear the blazer or the cardigan? I mean, these feel like trivial split-second moments, but to your brain, they are microtransactions. Every maybe and every let me think about it is a withdrawal from your cognitive bank account. By the time you actually sit down at your desk at 9 a.m., you've already made 20, 30, maybe 50 small choices. You haven't even touched your deep work yet, but your brain has been running a marathon in the background, right? That 10 a.m. crash isn't a lack of caffeine, and it isn't a lack of hustle. It's your brain's way of telling you it's out of funds. You're trying to run a high-performance engine on an empty tank because you spent all your fuel before you even left the driveway. If we're going to solve this, we have to stop looking at your big projects and start looking at the tiny, invisible leaks. I'm going to show you how to.
In my work with high-performing clients, I've noticed a consistent, recurring pattern. They aren't failing at their big, career-defining projects because they lack the skill. No. They are failing because they are bleeding out from 1,000 small cuts before they even reach their desk. I call this decision friction. It's the invisible tax you pay on your willpower just to get out the door. If you find yourself feeling completely done or mentally checked out by your first Zoom call of the morning, this is why. You've spent your best cognitive currency on things that don't actually matter. I mean, you're trying to solve the world's problems while your brain is still recovering from the exhaustion of picking out a tie. But here's the deduction that most people completely miss. It's not just the choice itself that's draining you. It's the switching cost between these tiny decisions that creates a mental fog you can't shake. And as I dig deeper into the evidence, there's one specific morning habit that almost everyone thinks is helpful, but is actually the primary suspect in your daily burnout. We need to look at the biological why behind this drainage, because the reason your brain is quitting on you is actually hardwired into your survival instinct. Let's look at the evidence under the microscope, because honestly, what I'm about to tell you, it changes the entire case. You see, your brain operates on a very specific biological currency, glucose. Think of your prefrontal cortex, that part of your brain responsible for high-level executive function, as a high-stakes accountant with a very strict daily budget. But here is the real Sherlock insight I've uncovered. Your brain is an equal opportunity spender. It doesn't have a filter for importance, right? To your biology, choosing between Arial and Times New Roman for a slide deck, it costs the exact same amount of glucose currency as deciding whether to pivot your entire career path. I call this
decision leakage. Just think about your typical morning for a second. By the time you've even reached your desk, you've likely made 50 tiny, microscopic decisions. You've debated which pair of socks matches your mood, scrolled through your inbox to decide which email looks the least threatening.
Now that we've finally identified the culprit, it's time to close the case with what I call the HighPerformance Protocol. Look, we're going to plug those decision leaks right now before they completely drain your mental battery. Step 1 of our investigation, it's the decision audit. Playful but serious. Tonight, I want you to play the detective in your own life. Actually scrutinize the evidence. Instructive. Write down every single choice you made this morning. Everything from the color of your socks to exactly what you put in your coffee. Because the truth is, you simply can't fix what you haven't tracked. And once you see the sheer volume of these micro decisions on paper, well, the leak becomes impossible to ignore. Identifying the leaks is the only way to plug them. Step 2 moves us straight into automation. See, in the world of high performance, choice friction is the ultimate enemy of progress, right? We solve this by batch deciding. Relatable. I want you to take your Sundays and just decide your outfits and meals for the entire week. By removing these variables, you aren't just being organized, you're physically shielding your prefrontal cortex from unnecessary wear and tear. You're eliminating the mystery so your brain can focus on the mission. Finally, we implement the 3-task lockdown. This is the secret weapon for anyone serious about their professional output. Before you go to sleep, you identify your 3 most critical work tasks. Firmly, not 10, not 5, just 3. When you wake up, you don't decide what to do. You don't scroll through your inbox looking for a spark of inspiration, right? No, you simply execute the plan you already made. This preserves your highest brain power for the deep work, the stuff that actually earns you your paycheck and moves the needle in your career. By following this protocol, you stop reacting to your day and you start commanding it. You're no longer a victim of your own routine, you're the architect of your energy. If you're ready to... Tonight, I'm challenging you to try the 3-task lockdown. Before you go to bed, I want you to pick exactly 3, and only 3, non-negotiable tasks for tomorrow. No more morning of deliberation, right? No more negotiating with your tired brain at 8 a.m. By the time your feet hit the floor, your mission is already assigned. I want you to look back at your last 24 hours and tell me in the comments, which micro decision has been draining you the most? Is it the outfit struggle, the meal planning, or maybe that endless scrolling through your to-do list? Let's identify the leak so we can plug it together. If you're ready to stop the decision leakage and finally start winning your mornings, make sure you subscribe to Power of Mindset. We're going to keep decoding the science of your success and stripping away the psychological barriers holding you back. I've enjoyed having you on this case with me. I'll see you in the next investigation.